Hi, I hope you're having an amazing day today. It's Monday, so I hope you're ready for another Mad History Monday. On some Mondays, I sit down and talk about an interesting story or topic in history. If that sounds like fun to you, I highly suggest that you subscribe because I do post one of these videos every other Monday, usually. This week, we're going to talk about a palace that is located on United States soil, which is not something that you usually think about when you think of the US. Let's get into it. I may be biased, but Hawaii is one of the most beautiful places on Earth. Sometimes I just can't even fathom how beautiful it is and how special of a place it is. Besides its beauty, though, it is home to so much incredible history. Iolani Palace is the only royal palace in the United States, and it's located on the island of Oahu. Oahu, Hawaii is also home to Hawaii's state capital, Honolulu. Also, it is pronounced Hawaii, for those of you that don't know, but I think most people in the United States say Hawaii. The palace was ahead of its time when construction was completed in 1882, when it was first built as the royal residence of the rulers of the Kingdom of Hawaii. First with King Kalakaua and his queen, Kamehameha, and then his sister's successor, Queen Liliuokalani. The Hawaiian monarchs held official functions here, hosted dignitaries and luminaries from around the world, and entertained often and lavishly with balls and other festivities. King Kalakaua had this palace built to basically show the world that Hawaii was independent and proud and powerful. Much of the materials used to build the palace were imported from the mainland, but resources from the islands were also used. Everything was very luxurious. It was designed in the architect style called American Florentine, but it also had many Hawaiian aspects as well. The grounds around the palace are thought to have been the site of an ancient heiau, which is a place of worship. It had electricity before the White House did, and included a modern communication system, the telephone. It's also one of the first palaces in the world to have indoor plumbing. King Kalakaua is really known for his attempts to revive the Hawaiian culture. He brought back hula dancing, which had previously been banned, and he sparked pride back into the Hawaiian people. However, in 1887, he was basically forced to sign a new Hawaii constitution called the Bayonet Constitution, which stripped the monarchy of power, basically. Before Western explorers reached Hawaiian shores, each of the islands were ruled by their own chiefs. In 1810, the great warrior Kamehameha I unified the islands. During his time, Hawaii really went from a place of isolation to having more contact with the outside world. After he died, Westerners really started to settle on all of the islands, and Hawaiian life changed. Before the construction of the present-day Iolani Palace, King Kamehameha III actually had his official residence on the same site. It was also called Iolani Palace. The following royal successors after him also lived on this property until it was demolished in 1874. Because of the increasing influence from outsiders, this king, King Kamehameha III, had established a constitutional monarchy to ensure the sovereignty of the kingdom. So back to the new Iolani Palace. As I said, King Kalakaua was the one who had it built, and he lived there throughout his reign. But when he died in 1891, his sister, Queen Liliuokalani, took power. She really wanted to fix things and strengthen the Hawaiian monarchy and really just create more pride with her people, just like her brother had done before her. She wanted to amend the Bayonet Constitution, the one that her brother had signed, basically taking power away from the monarchy. But she wanted to restore that power back to the monarchy and back to the Hawaiian people. However, this caused a lot of opposition from sugar planters and businessmen, who then were responsible for the overthrow of the Hawaiian monarchy in 1893. A provisional government was then established, and it was backed by the American minister to Hawaii. Remember that before this, America and Hawaii had made numerous political and economical treaties together. So America already had its hands dug pretty deep into Hawaii. So in 1895, Hawaiian royalists tried to restore the power back to the queen, but it didn't work and she was actually arrested. She was forced to relinquish any future claim to the throne and was put on trial in the throne room in the palace. She was convicted, fined, and sentenced to 5 years in prison at hard labor. Craziness. But then the sentence was later reduced to imprisonment in an upstairs palace bedroom for almost 8 months. The palace served as the government capitol building for the Republic of Hawaii, then the Territory of Hawaii, and eventually the State of Hawaii until 1969. Nearly 80 years as a government building. And we all know what happens to buildings when the government is in charge of them. The palace then went under restoration to model the way it was when the last king and queen of Hawaii lived there. When the government had been using the palace, structures were changed, and it really wasn't being taken care of the way that it should have been. So many things needed to be changed back and fixed up. But nowadays, visitors can walk through the grounds and tour the palace as it was. Not all of the original furnishings are there, but they do a pretty good job of recreating what it would have looked like. And that is the very summarized history of Iolani Palace. There's so much more to learn about this place, so I highly recommend touring it if you ever do visit Oahu. There's just so much history, and I tried to just kind of condense it. I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit about this place, and I hope that maybe it has inspired you to go learn more about Hawaiian culture and history. I was never really taught about Hawaiian history in school, which is confusing to me, and also I think it's dumb because it's pretty incredible. So go out and do some of your own research. I always leave extra reading and or viewing links in the description boxes of my videos if you're ever interested in learning a little bit more about each topic. Oh, and when you do visit Hawaii, make sure to look out for some of the names that I mentioned today. Many roads and buildings and other things are named after Hawaiian kings and queens. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. Bye!